house is burning, but we're still sitting in the glow. Phones charged, lights on, pretending we don't know. But the forest is silent, the river's running low, and the flame on our plates is the strongest fire we throw. Put out the fire, put out the fire. Echoes and rise, this is your hour. 7 boundaries broken, the earth pushed past the line. Climate, land, species, fresh water, chemicals, nutrients, oceans in decline. Not danger, disaster in real time. Put out the fire, ooh, put out the fire. Metaphorians rise, this is your power. And here in India, one truth stands the same. Milk is not just milk, dairy feeds the flame. Cows and methane, fields and forests turn to grain. Politics, culture, carbon, all wired to the same chain. Every cup of curd is heat in the air, every block of butter is a forest repair. It's not a small habit, it's a planetary affair. Put out the fire, put out the fire. Echoes and rise, this is our hour. Energy fixes half the hurt, Dr. Rao made that clear. But food fixes the other half, the half that's burning here. Change the plate, change the land, change the future's atmosphere. Put out the fire, put out the fire. Metaphorians unite, this is your choir. Every millet, every fruit, every sapseed, every bean is water on the wildfire of a world we've never seen. Every oil-free bite is a river turning clean. This is not perfection, it's direction. Not pressure, but protection. A week of choices can cool a generation. A company's courage can ignite a nation. Put out the fire, ooh, put out the fire. Echoes and rise, this is your hour. Metaphorians unite, Metaphorians ignite, sharing love in the metazone, light in the path to a cooler home. Put out the fire, ooh, put out the fire. Together we rise, together we inspire.
Welcome to the Planet B podcast, where truth, transformation, and faith converge. Join us as we flip the script on ecological despair, guided by Dr. Sailesh Rao's vision for a compassionate, rewilded vegan world. Let's begin the journey to the greatest transformation in human history.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to episode 21 of the Planet B podcast, The Goals Transformation. Dr. Rao, this is a very, very awesome episode. So please, if you don't mind, would you begin with the opening quote?
Yeah, it's a quote from Dr. Stephen Kaufman. He said, "Meaningful reforms are not possible until goals change." A goal of a system is what everyone is working towards accomplishing. And if the goals are misaligned, with nature, then you're going to create a system that goes against nature.
Right.
So I started off with the Sustainable Development Goals of the UN. And any system is designed to meet certain goals. In fact, by definition, a system is an organized framework for accomplishing an objective. I started off with the UN Sustainable Development Goals because 195 nations have signed on to meet these goals by 2030. And when you look at the list of goals, they're all good goals. I said, hey, I would love to meet these goals. And I'd love to design systems that meet these goals. Okay? Then when you look through the goals, you realize that there is a Trojan horse of a goal that's been stuck in there that prevents us from ever meeting any of the other goals. And
Right.
that is goal number 8, okay, economic growth. And you ask the question, if you meet the other goals, like no poverty, zero hunger, good health and well-being, these are goals 1, 2, and 3, and quality education, goal 4. So if you meet all these goals, do you care that the economy is growing?
No.
Nobody cares, right? You met the goals. Those are the real goals that you were supposed to meet.
Right.
Okay? If you meet these goals, nobody cares that this economy is growing. So why is that goal there? It was snuck in there so that everybody is pretending to meet all the goals by just growing the economy. That's the game we are playing. Okay? We're all looking under that light, the street light, for the key. And so that goal is put in there to deceive us. So deception is built into the system, right? So I say, if you really want to meet these goals, the Sustainable Development Goals, if you're serious adults who are actually working to meet goals honestly, you have to drop goal number 8, number 1.
Right.
So that's part of the goals transformation. So meaningful reforms are not possible until goals change. The Sustainable Development Goals have been worked on for the last 10 years, and they're nowhere near eradicating hunger. Okay? Nowhere near eradicating poverty. Why? Because we have not been serious about it yet. So I say drop goal number 8 and replace it with goal number 18, which is Beyond Cruelty Foundation's goal number 18, which is zero animal exploitation. When you put that goal in there, suddenly all the other goals become easier to meet. Like the Beyond Cruelty Foundation website on SDG 18 has details on how adopting SDG 18 makes SDG 1 easier to meet, SDG 2 easier to meet, and so on. Down the line, they show you how it impacts every one of the other SDGs and make them all easier to meet. Now, that's a goal that we need to include. So that creates a vegan world, right? Because it's zero animal exploitation. That becomes now a new goal set that can be met by 2030 honestly. So instead of deception, it's about honesty. So I'm transforming, the goals to be in alignment with the values that we discussed in the last chapter.
Right.
So no more deception, honesty. And if you want to meet all the goals, talk to us engineers who know how to build projects, to create projects that meet goals. This is our job. This is what we normally do. So first of all, go to any nation that has already signed on to the Sustainable Development Goals and ask them, where is your engineering team for meeting the Sustainable Development Goals? How serious are you at meeting the Sustainable Development Goals? Are you running a con job? Is this a scam, to con people into thinking that our leaders are working on solving all these problems, when in reality they are not? I'm just asking for honesty and some seriousness in addressing a planetary scale problem when you are in danger of losing an entire living planet. because we are not honest about solving the problem,
Right.
right?
At the beginning of the chapter, you say that you start with foundational myth on planet A: human well-being necessitates endless economic growth, which
Correct.
we just discussed. And then you follow it up with foundational truth on planet B: human well-being necessitates a sense of purpose larger than ourselves.
Correct. When you're part of a larger project, then everyone feels whole because they're part of something much bigger than themselves. That sense of purpose larger than ourselves is important for every human being to have that sense of belonging because we are a social animal. We're not loners. We all want to be part of something much larger.
Yeah.
So I say that that's what this meeting the Sustainable Development Goals gives us, because you're meeting the Sustainable Development Goals and simultaneously reducing the planetary boundary transgressions. So you're bringing the planet's life support systems back to health. So it's as you meet the goals, which are mostly about human beings, about our society and creating well-being for us. You create well-being for animals, you create well-being for the planet.
Right.
So we go through one by one the Sustainable Development Goals, and I say most of the goals I will retain them. There's nothing wrong with them. Like no
Right.
poverty, right? You say SDG number 1, end poverty in all its forms everywhere. Who would argue
Yeah.
against that? This is, it's a goal that everyone wants,
Right.
and we can easily meet it. From a systems perspective, we want to meet SDG number 1, give everybody universal basic income. That's
Right.
it, right? It's done. The basic needs are met. But then you have to have a currency system that's redesigned for this purpose. It cannot be based on the old model of creating currency in the form of loans. So UBI, and then you have to meet the foundational needs of human beings, food, clothing, and shelter, so that everyone feels secure.
Yeah.
That is eradicating poverty.
Right. And then programs like food healers are very easily achievable to help accomplish a mission like that.
I mean, you're transforming a system. So, meaning you may start with implementing food healers in the current model itself, which you can do
Mm.
because you're taking surpluses from people and creating an outlet for healthy food to be given away.
Right.
Okay? But then over time, that has to become normalized.
Mm.
That has to become the normal way of eating, right? It's rarely do you go out and eat uh, in a restaurant for yourself.
Right.
Yeah.
And this also leads to, so SDG number 1 is no poverty. So we discussed that a little bit.
Right.
SDG, which stands for Sustainable Development Goal number 2, is zero hunger.
Correct. Yeah. So end hunger, end food scarcity, and achieve food security and improve nutrition and promote sustainable agriculture. That's what the official definition is. And I claim this is one of the easiest goals to meet from a systems engineering perspective because we have all the food we need to meet these goals, except if they are all being misallocated, misaligned. It's being sent to the animals instead of human beings, and there's tremendous waste in the system because the system is all designed to make sure that the most exotic food is available to the richest person at any given time.
Right.
And so you see, high-end restaurants with lots and lots of menu items, and which means they have lots and lots of raw ingredients waiting just in case someone orders it,
Mm-hmm.
right? And if no one orders it, in 2 or 3 days, they throw it away because it's spoiled. So, so you create tremendous amounts of waste in the system because the objective function is all about uh, luxury indulgences and not basic nutrition. So
Dr. Rao, how much food gets wasted in this Planet A system from the grocery stores, from our own pantries, from the restaurants? How much food is getting wasted currently?
well, the global average is about one third.
That's incredible.
Yeah, one third of the food is being wasted, and 1/10 of human beings are going hungry. So do the math.
There's it. That's it right there. It's very
That's it.
simple.
Yeah. So you can clearly meet everyone's needs right there, right? Just by changing the objective function of the system.
Right.
So if no hunger, zero hunger is a true objective function, not luxury indulgences, we can meet it easily.
The stats prove the solution so easily.
But I'm not saying you can do it in the current model directly. You have to create systems around this.
Yes,
But that
right.
requires, changing the goals of the system, right? The goals transformation is important. If the goal is luxury indulgences, you get the system that you have today.
Mm-hmm.
If the goal is universal nutrition, you can create a system for that.
All right.
If the goal is universal nutrition first, and then luxury indulgences second, we can also meet that, right?
Right.
Yeah. So that's the food healer step. It's saying, I don't mind you going to 5-star restaurants and eating, but make sure that everybody's fed basic nutrition.
Mm.
Okay? It's your responsibility. If you have a surplus, if you got lots and lots of money sitting in your bank, right? You have a surplus and you're storing it for a rainy day. What is this rainy day you're talking about? Right? The planet is dying around you. What are you deploying it for?
Right.
Right? To go to Mars? So, use that surplus, donate it to a temple, and let's get healthy meals to everybody.
All right. Wonderful. So let's go to SDG number 3, which is good health and well-being. How can we solve that?
Yeah. Good health and well-being, it's a whole system around it you have to create. I'll go into more details in the next chapter on self-transformation. But it's a self-transformation which comes from self-motivation first, that you want to do the transformation. But you have to have a system that enables you to meet those goals, right? So if you have a system that's constantly harassing you, telling you, you're less than who you are, and then it's impossible for you to have good health and well-being.
Right.
Right. So, and why does the system keep telling you that you're less than who you are? They want you to consume more. It's all about economic growth. And you don't consume if you're satisfied,
Mm-hmm.
if you're healthy and you don't want to, you're happy as is. So you have to be made unhappy. You have to be made wanting something. And that's when you consume more and more. So this is why the economic growth goal is such a Trojan horse. Right? It makes it impossible for you to meet SDG number 3, good health and well-being. Because the growth model is saying, I need more diabetes patients. I need more heart disease patients. So the government is on the side of the corporations. And they are saying, okay, you want more diabetes patients and more heart disease patients. We will mandate the children have to drink dairy. Even though
Ridiculous.
there is plenty of scientific evidence that that's going to cause diabetes, that's going to cause heart disease. Why? So they're not interested in the well-being of the children. They're much more interested in the well-being of the corporations.
Right.
And how their profit can improve. Right? So this is why the system needs to change. The goals of the system needs to change for us to really accomplish SDG number 3, good health and well-being. But if you drop goal number 8 and add goal number 18, and you redesign systems around this new set of goals, we can meet SDG number 3. And so details about how to do that will be there in the next chapter, next episode.
Wonderful. So let's go into SDG number 4, which is quality education. And a lot of the parents out there that are sending their children to schools, they're not very happy with the current school system. So
Correct.
how
Yeah.
can we fix this, Dr. Rao?
Well, the schools are still stuck in the industrial age.
Yeah.
They are teaching children how to be good cogs in a machine. You know, you you actually are constantly testing children to see how obedient they are at
Mm,
following the rules, at following directions, and so on. And only those who are very good at following directions get promoted to more and more and more. So you get PhD because you were disciplined enough to go get a master's. You got a master's because you were disciplined enough to go get a bachelor's degree. And
all right.
the kids who were bored by all this, who really are very creative, they got dropped, right? They get less of a salary. So in essence, they're told, you're not worth it anymore for us to support. So we have created an education system that's funneling good industrial workers. So quality education is really about helping each one of us find our gifts, to hone our gifts, so that we can be very productive members in this collaborative that's healing the planet. So
Do you have like a vision of what a school or educational institution would look like on Planet B?
yeah, it would be much more self-directed. So every child has access to lots of resources and they can choose what they want to go learn. And learning is a lifelong process. So education should not be just, you get educated and then you get certified and then you get stuck in that job forever.
Mm,
That's not the model. The model is self-directed education. And of course, you get certifications for acquiring certain skills. And beyond that, it's you choose what other skills you want to get and how you want to contribute to the well-being of all. So it
yeah,
has
that's
to be
wonderful.
self-motivated and
Mm,
self-directed education.
okay, so let's go on to SDG number 5, which is gender equality.
Right. So achieve gender equality and empower all women and girls. That's the objective of the UN, SDG number 5. And I say, let's do it. Let's
Yeah,
do it honestly. Okay, let's do it.
for
So
sure. Yes.
yeah, yeah. Provide gender neutral opportunities for all to contribute to the well-being of the planet. So ultimately, the goal is the well-being of the planet, the well-being of all.
Mm.
Within that, everyone finds their role.
It's kind of interesting because if we want gender equality, we need equality. So if we're
Right.
exploiting animals, we're already creating a system that is creating the inequality.
Correct. Yeah. When we are exploiting animals, we are seeing them not as individuals, but as body parts.
Yeah.
Okay. And if you talk to feminists, that's exactly their complaint that they have about gender inequality. Women are being seen as body parts. So it's the same system. It's just objectifying the other,
Yeah.
whatever the other is. So it's the dominant class saying the subordinate class are all objectified. So gender equality is calling for equality across all human beings, regardless of gender identity. And that, once you grant equality across species identities, this is automatic.
All right.
Yeah,
SDG number 6 is clean water and sanitation.
correct. Yeah, so clean water and sanitation is really about creating closed cycles for human waste and making sure that the freshwater cycles of the planet are restored, because we have dammed the rivers and we have polluted the rivers with our runoffs from irrigation and so on. So when we go vegan and we restore forests, the freshwater cycles of the planet starts getting cleaned up again. They start getting restored again. And then we have to start undamming some of the rivers, returning water systems back to nature. Why? Because we have found other ways to tap energy. We don't really need to dam rivers anymore. As you restore forests, you will discover that there is fresh water available to you closer and closer. So you don't need to dam rivers and create artificial lakes and then have aqueducts, get water from there to wherever you're living. So you bring back the water table underground, so you can start using that. So it's repairing the water cycles of the planet.
Sorry, that goes right into SDG number 7, which is the affordable and clean energy.
Correct, yeah. SDG number 7 is to ensure access to affordable, reliable, sustainable, and modern energy for all. Now, Donella Meadows, in her analysis, had said that 99% of human activities today are unnecessary and wasteful. Okay. I don't know if it is that bad. She's saying only 1% of our activities are useful. But it is clear that once we transition to planet B, the amount of energy we need for human activities is going to decrease by an order of magnitude. Okay. And that energy can be supplied very easily by renewable energy and batteries for storing energy and making it available all day round. Because it's not such a big energy need. Okay. I mean, the amount of energy we waste is incredible because we are constantly trying to grow the economy. We're
Right.
constantly manufacturing more and more wants unnecessarily.
Yep.
So when you no longer have to do that and we are tapping into the Earth's energy sources for what we really need, we will discover that it automatically shrinks the energy infrastructure that we need.
It makes an incredible amount of sense. So SDG number 8, I think we've covered this and we'll continue to cover this, but zero animal exploitation.
Yeah, that's SDG number 18. And so drop SDG number 8 and replace it with SDG number 18.
Right.
That ensures that all animals, including humans, are not exploited for human purposes. As technology has rendered obsolete the necessity for animal use. We don't need to use animals for any purpose whatsoever.
So SDG number 9 is industry, innovation, and infrastructure.
Right, yeah. Build resilient infrastructure, promote inclusive and sustainable industrialization, and foster innovation. That's the official definition in the UN. And basically, it is to restore and stabilize the life support systems of the planet. Whatever industries we need to accomplish that objective, we need to foster those. And anything that was for luxury indulgences will slowly come into disuse because you don't need that anymore.
Yeah. In planet B, we will have what we need, so we wouldn't want so much as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And once we change our values, core values transformation, and we also heal ourselves, the self-transformation happens. A lot of this economy that has grown to be that big, that's causing such a huge impact on the planet, will automatically shrink because you don't need so much.
Wonderful. So SDG number 10 is reduce inequalities.
Right. Reduce inequalities within and among communities, so which is making sure that every community has access to the adequate resources. When you think of an engineering project, this is one of the first things that we normally do, is making sure that every team member feels like they have everything they need, that they feel like they are treated fairly. Okay. Otherwise, the team won't function well.
All right.
So if you want humanity to function well, to create this life force that is restoring the planet, we have to have a system where everyone feels like they're treated fairly. I mean, any corporation, you ask them, any engineering team that they have formed that has been successful had this characteristic in them.
SDG number 11 is sustainable cities and communities.
Make cities and human settlements inclusive, safe, resilient, and sustainable. Now, why are there cities today? Today, the overall objective is people congregate in cities to pool resources together, pool their intellectual abilities together to figure out how best to extract from the planet. we will still congregate in the climate healing phase, but we are congregating together to figure out how to restore the planet,
Hmm.
not how to extract from the planet. So I don't think you need such big cities anymore. There'll be more people spread out because you're restoring locally the ecosystems of the planet. And you have to monitor the life support systems of the planet and make sure that they're all going in the right direction. So I think cities will kind of morph on their own
Mm.
because you won't need to figure out how to make things bigger and bigger and bigger, which is what we are doing
Right.
today.
Yeah. So SDG number 12 is responsible consumption and production.
Correct. Yeah. Which comes automatically once you change the values and you change the system to meet those values. So ensure sustainable consumption and production patterns. There is a lot of re-education that needs to happen for that. For instance, I'm speaking to chemical engineers, telling them, look, we've had an era for the last 100 years or so where you're allowed to cook up any chemical you want and put it out there because we assumed that the earth was an infinite source for resources and infinite sink for waste. That's what the education system was based on. And now we know that we are pouring 220 billion tons of toxic chemicals into the environment every year. That's the equivalent
My
of
goodness.
30 elephants per person per year. And the earth cannot sustain that. So this is one of the planetary boundary transgressions that is high risk of destabilizing the life support systems of the planet, which means you have to have a responsible design of systems that minimize the production of toxic chemicals that can be poured into the environment. And corporations have to be made to pay for it. If you pour something, you have to factor that into your costs. So this
Right.
is how you have to try and minimize the amount of chemical pollution that we pour into the environment. So that's responsible consumption and production.
The next three kind of go together, so I'll just list them all. So
Yeah.
SDG number 13 is climate action. SDG number 14 is life below water. And SDG number 15 is life on land.
Correct. And it turns out that climate action that resolves climate change, that heals the climate, will also restore life below water and restore life on land, because you have to first eliminate animal agriculture. So that's the first step that we need to do in climate action. That has to be done urgently, and then the fossil fuel use can be reduced in a nuanced fashion. That's how you deal with the Faustian bargain of fossil fuels. So this is why these three goals are all connected together. So
Right.
take urgent action to combat climate change and its impacts, simultaneously conserve and restore the oceans, rivers, and marine life, and then conserve and restore native ecosystems, combat desertification, halt and reverse land degradation, halt and reverse biodiversity loss. So all of these are together as one.
So SDG number 16 is peace, justice, and strong institutions.
Right. So peace, justice, and strong institutions, not peace at the barrel of a gun. We need to center true wisdom in institutions and build inclusive societies with justice for all. So it has to be also multi-species justice in the institutions. So you have to rethink our entire judicial systems. Okay? Because currently our judicial systems, our governance systems are all based on rights and enforcing rights. Okay, so you assert a right, and then the role of the government and governance is to ensure that that right is protected. I think the emphasis should change towards fulfilling responsibilities, not acquiring rights. Because we are giving rights to each other, and then we are saying, okay, the animals don't have rights, or they have some rights, but not all rights. No,
Right.
you have a responsibility to the rest of life that we are trying to fulfill. So that's our overall objective. Within that, you say, how do you fulfill those responsibilities? How do you manage that? And so the true purpose of governance is to protect and cultivate the health and vitality of the planet and all its inhabitants for generations to come. Okay, that's what Dr. Shelley Ostroff said, the true purpose of governance. And I'm saying that is absolutely right. And to meet that, your governance should be about fulfilling responsibilities, not about asserting rights.
Correct. Yeah. Final one, SDG number 17 is partnership for the goals.
Yeah, strengthen the partnership across all boundaries, whether it's between, with indigenous communities or with different nations, or different species. Strengthen partnerships for meeting these goals. And think of it as a joint project with all the animals of the world. Okay, restoring the planet. It's a joint project with all of them, not just human beings. I mean, we are the ones who destroyed a lot of it. And so we have a responsibility now to repair it. But they are helping us. You have to see how to bring them back so that they can help us. So that's the kind of partnership, multi-species partnership that I want to talk about in SDG number 17. So all the SDGs are valid, okay, except for goal number 8, with slight modifications in the interpretation. So I say, let's meet the SDGs because you all signed to meet it. Okay, all of them signed it. And I'm just coming along saying, is there anyone here who's serious about what they signed? And I'm here to help you if you're serious about it.
Yeah.
Because we can form an engineering team to meet the SDGs, and we can do it formally, professionally, because engineers know how to meet objectives.
Right. Maybe this is a little bit of a challenge, but something interesting, I think. So if someone who's watching this podcast is speaking to someone and this person that they're speaking to is really about these sustainable development goals, how can we communicate to them in 1 or 2 sentences how ending animal exploitation would fix all sustainable development goals?
Ending animal exploitation will put us in the right framework for fixing all the sustainable development goals. It won't automatically do it, but it will give you the opportunity to meet all the goals. But without doing that, you'll be stuck in the old model, and you cannot possibly meet any of the goals. So there is a lack of seriousness when you say you're going to meet all the goals and simultaneously serve animal foods in conferences.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
It shows a lack of seriousness. So I'm saying, let us be serious about it, okay? The planet is dying in front of our eyes. Can we just get serious about solving the problem? And if you are, contact me and I'm happy to help. And I have lots of systems engineers, lots of other engineers who are willing to help, okay? If there is a serious project for doing this.
Wonderful.
Yeah. Just like what happened, I used the analogy of the Delhi Metro versus the Kolkata Metro. The Kolkata Metro was a mess. It was basically only, I think even today it has only 2 lines, one going north-south, one going east-west. But the Delhi Metro is now bigger than the London Underground in extent. It carries 50% more people than the London Underground. And everything works like a charm. And it was started in 1990s. And how did that happen so quickly? Because the engineers were allowed to do the project.
Right.
Okay, without interference. They're given an objective and given resources and said, go do it. And they did it. So I said, there are lots of engineers who are right now interested in helping create these systems. These are all systems that need to be designed and implemented. And has to be done with engineering integrity.
All right. Awesome. So as we wrap up chapter 21, the goals transformation, is there any final message you'd like to share with our audience?
I'm looking forward to implementing these goals seriously. Okay? And I'm looking forward to the day when the world gets serious about this, as opposed to just, pretending to do it.
Right. And I think it's interesting too that if anyone is in communication with people who are interested in fixing the sustainable development goals, that you have written extensively on this. So it would be a good step to get them in touch with you. Well, thank you so much, Dr. Rao. And We hope people will join us once again for our next episode, which will be chapter 22, the self-transformation. So thank you all for joining us today, and we look forward to seeing you again soon. Bye.
This has been a podcast from Planet B, where we don't need to harm to thrive. If you haven't moved here yet, we thank you for visiting.
Brittany.
I was wondering how wait, you're able to hear me, right? Okay. I was wondering if I know that we talked about it before, but I don't know, it seems it goes back and forth a lot where you say you want a vegan economy, then you say you don't want economic growth. So I kind of created an image and I was kind of wondering what your thoughts are on it. Sorry, I gotta put it in the chat. This one, where it's just doing vegan sustainability, well, vegan SDGs, where you have the economic growth for veganism, along with everything else for veganism, and that it would all work out where all of these can be met through veganism. Like, how come it's not this, but something else?
No, I just rebel against the idea of growth as an objective. I completely rebel against it. I know you are all for it, but to me, it's not an objective. It's an outcome if it happens. I don't say, I want to grow something on a finite planet forever. Anyway, I know we have differences in philosophy on that, but that's okay.
I don't want veganism to grow. I'm so confused.
I don't want veganism to grow. I want veganism to grow because
Okay.
but that doesn't mean GDP grows, right? So people just say growth and then they just look at GDP as the measure and they want that to grow. And that I think is absolutely that's putting us all in the wrong framework.
Well, I totally agree, though. You do want growth, and I think
I,
growth is good for the vegan direction.
well,
I don't know what's going on. I guess
yeah,
I'm just gonna remain confused.
yeah, it's okay. Yeah, growth is good in the vegan economy. Veganism growing right now is good, but veganism also will eventually, that economy will also reach a stable state and stay. If it doesn't, it's also going to kill us.
I don't see how it has to be that way. I mean, there's ways to make something keep growing without it collapsing. I mean, that
Do
doesn't
you
sound like
grow,
growth to me.
Brittany? Have you grown continuously? And if I grow continuously at the rate at which I was growing as a baby, I would be 100 feet tall by now.
Well, some things have it's a continuation, and some things just end at some point. But when you were in the growth phase, you grew until you were done. It's
Mm-hmm.
not, but some things don't. Like the time that you're living, it keeps going. I guess I get that everything
Yeah.
has an end, but I'm saying during that time it just keeps going. And so as long as we keep growing something and it can keep going indefinitely, then for however long we need it, then I don't see the issue in that, you
I
know?
I don't see why I need to monitor that. I need to monitor the real goals, right? Are we reaching no poverty? Are we reaching zero hunger? Meet those goals, and whatever happens to the economy, the human economy is not the primary thing. It's a secondary thing. It's a tool to meet the other goals, right? And if we say only economic growth is the goal, then you get the kind of stuff that we are doing now, which is deliberately making people buy things they don't need, planned obsolescence, all kinds of nonsense that we are trying to overcome now. Because we put growth ahead of everything else. And growth does not need to be even there because it's a measure. If something grows as a result of us trying to meet an objective, fine. I don't have a problem with that. If it shrinks as we meet the objective, that's fine too. You know what I mean? I'm not going to complain if you did something with less resources and you shrank the economy.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Danny?
Thank you. This is a question from the chat. Could you explain how many times more animal waste is than vegetable waste?
Oh. Animals, when they're being raised, they produce more waste than all the food we are eating today. Animals today are producing more waste than all the food we are eating today. Okay. Yeah, Rebecca put the block diagram from the IPCC in the chat that shows that. You'll see that for every 1 kg of animal food we get, the animals had pooped 12 times as much in terms of weight. So that's the average. Okay, so they've wasted, the waste from the animal production block itself is 12 times the amount of food that the animals give us. And the animals are only giving us 12% of the food we eat by weight. And so which means the animal waste is greater than the amount of total amount of food we are eating.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I was reading today about how some of these CAFOs export the manure to smaller farms with less regulation that they may own as well. Are you familiar with that?
I don't know. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
sure that's going on.
Yeah.
Anything that makes money. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, because the amount of manure is so overwhelming.
Right. Yeah.
And
Yeah. See, if you look at it from a biomass perspective, the biomass of our animals, our farmed animals, is already 5 to 6 times the total biomass of all the megafauna. All the animals greater than 20 kgs that lived 10,000 years ago.
Wow.
Okay, so which means nature had a system in which it was perfectly processing the waste of those animals. Okay?
Yeah.
Now she's being overwhelmed because not only are animals 5 to 6 times the weight of all the wild megafauna that lived 10,000 years ago, they're also eating twice as much food as their weight because they're all babies. So the amount of food they're eating from the planet is about 10 to 12 times the amount of food that the wild animals used to eat 10,000 years ago.
And by that, you mean the soy and the grains?
Oh, no, total weight of food. Total weight of food. That includes grass and everything, right?
Okay.
Now, all that is being converted into manure.
Right.
Right. And so, I mean, 1/3 of it comes out as manure. Whatever they're eating, 1/3 of it comes out as manure. And that's too much manure for the system to process. That's why you're getting dead zones and all that, all over the place.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Tammy?
Yeah, hi everyone. It really is a very simple shift with the releasing of animal agriculture, because as soon as that's gone from the system, people are not going to be suffering as much. So they're not going to be grasping. And, just even the quietness that happens in the mind when we stop eating, flesh and secretions of other beings. And really the majority of the waste is the animal agriculture industry. and then all the things that people do to alleviate their pain from being part of this world. Yeah, so it will just happen so naturally as soon as, we release animal agriculture, especially the dairy industry, but all of it, you know. We will naturally stop grasping, and so it won't even be like we'll have to monitor how people are living. I really feel that deeply.
Thank you for that comment. Go ahead, BJ.
I was thinking about how when we're at our happiest, quite often it's some little thing like jumping into a lake with friends, or it could be playing tag as a kid, or just reading a good book and feeling the comfort of an Afghan over you. And there's just so many very simple ways of feeling totally happy, content, and you don't need anything more. And I was thinking somehow that fits in with this. It's like we get caught up in that drive for growth, like you said, and things we have to work because we have to pay this and this and this, and we have to, and
Right.
you feel yourself on that treadmill that you can't get off
Right.
of, and then
Right.
it's hard to relax, and then it's hard to sleep, and then and I thought, gosh, the happiest moments were when you're just being. It's like the in-between times, or the vacation times, I suppose, or a phone call with an old friend. And so it's the non-growth times that are really the joys of life and the things you hold on to.
Right. Thank you. Yeah. That's when you're comfortable in your skin. You know everything. All is right with the world.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
The house is burning, but we're still sitting in the glow. Phones charged, lights on, pretending we don't know. But the forest is silent, the river's running low, and the flame on our plates is the strongest fire we throw. Put out the fire, put out the fire. Echoes and rise, this is your hour. 7 boundaries broken, the earth pushed past the line. Climate, land, species, fresh water, chemicals, nutrients, oceans in decline. Not danger, disaster in real time. Put out the fire, ooh, put out the fire. Metafudians rise, this is your power. And here in India, one truth stands the same. not just milk. Dairy feeds the flame. Cows and methane. Fields and forests turn to grain. Politics, culture, carbon, all wired to the same chain. Every cup of curd is heat in the air. Every block of butter is a forest repair. It's not a small habit, it's a planetary affair. Put out the fire. Put out the fire. Echoes and rise, this is our hour. Energy fixes half the hurt, Dr. Rao made that clear. But food fixes the other half, the half that's burning here. Change the plate, change the land, change the future's atmosphere. Put out the fire. Put out the fire. Metafoodians unite, this is your choir. Every millet, every fruit, every sapsy, every bean is water on the wildfire of a world we've never seen. Every oil-free bite is a river turning clean. This is not perfection, it's direction. Not pressure, but protection. A week of choices can cool a generation. A company's courage can ignite a nation. Put out the fire. Ooh, put out the fire. Echoes and rise, this is your hour. Metafoodians unite, Metafoodians ignite, sharing love in the meta zone, light in the path to a cooler